Every purchase carries dual costs, financial and environmental. Historically, the payments industry involved the financial aspect, but evolving priorities call for tools like carbon footprint calculations and guided measures for cardholders and businesses in an effort to protect the environment. However, adopting eco-friendly practices can be complex due to multiple factors. Visa's research shows that consumers seek assistance from card providers, desiring to comprehend their spending impact and expecting green solutions to be integrated into everyday services. Visa and its partners are developing innovations to help financial institutions meet these demands. A new generation of banking features may, for instance, display the carbon cost of individual transactions, offer valuable advice, and enable contributions to environmental organizations. To discuss these new developments in sustainability, we're joined by Otto Williams, Senior Vice President, Head of Product, Partnerships, and Digital Solutions CEMEA at Visa, and Ulrich Pietsch, co-founder and CEO of ecolytiq, a company that provides banks and financial institutions with the digital infrastructure for green finance. Welcome, Otto and Ulrich. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, David.
Hi there.
Ulrich, you've said that sustainability is the challenge of our time, but also one of the greatest opportunities for the finance industry. What did you mean by that?
Yes, so obviously we see that climate change is really the biggest challenge we have of the century. And it's often seen as a threat by the finance industry. But on the other hand, it's also a very relevant opportunity and maybe one of the largest opportunity out there for the finance industry. So if, for example, I change from my car to using a bus and the bus is diesel, the whole infrastructure needs an upgrade and an update. And that can't be done without any help of the finance industry financing the infrastructure update. Or if you go down more to retail banking, if you see that there's a recent report of McKinsey, green accounts, green cards have a yearly volume of $100 billion globally. So that's quite a big number that banks could be, doing in retail banking in launching green products. And that's exactly what we try to do here at ecolytiq.
So, Ulrich, I think this would be a good time for you to explain your company, ecolytiq, and how you're tackling the problem.
Yes, happy to do. So we are a B2B2C provider. So we basically offer our software to the banks to help them launch green products like green credit cards, green accounts. Everything we do comes through one single API, and it's easy to integrate into the banking front end. So customers see them every day when they open up their banking interface and look at the bank statement. The software has different modules, 3 major different modules. And the first one is called Eco-Aware. Eco-Aware basically gets you aware about the impact of every single transaction you do every day, which are highly relevant transactions because they globally stand for 60% of all the emissions. So if we have an influence on these daily consumptions and daily purchases, we have a high influence. And Eco-Aware is helping customers to understand that this transaction, that flight booking was that CO2, and the coffee I've bought in the coffee shop was that amount of CO2. But this is only a starting point, as the CO2 is an abstract number. So we move to the second module called Eco-Engage, where we tell people a little bit more about the footprint, telling, that flight booking was like driving the train for 2 weeks, right, from the CO2 equivalent. Or that coffee was that amount of CO2, and next time you better go for an organic choice because it has a 10 times lower impact. And when our software is live, people start reducing their footprint by more than 10%. That's more a ton a year, which is quite a high number, just by applying these little tips and tricks on transaction category. And the third module, the last one, is basically called Eco Action. So it enables people to act and really do climate contributions, to donate a couple of euros or dollars to certified projects, or maybe even do investments into the funds of a bank or to sustainable funds of third-party provider.
So is this what's known as sustainability as a service?
Yes, exactly. That's what's known as sustainability as a service, trying to really come up with one single solution for the banks to integrate, and they can basically start this in phases, so it doesn't have to be implemented all at once. But you can also grow the solution over time. So this software is live with the banks for more than 2 years now in Europe. So we're creating, improving the software over time, but it's already very solid and robust solution you can actually start using tomorrow. And it can be integrated in a couple of weeks.
Otto, could you tell us more about how Visa's partnering with ecolytiq?
Absolutely. I mean, look, this is one partnership that we're pretty excited about. And, we're called it the Visa Eco Benefits. And like you rightly said, it's a sustainability as a service bundle. And, with ecolytiq obviously helping us to deliver. And it is about personalized education. How do we bring awareness to consumers so that they can live more sustainable lifestyle? And that's part of that package. It's that carbon footprint calculator to make sure that they can, assess their impact, the impact of their spend on the environment. It's also bringing rewards to them as determined by their banks. How do consumers get rewarded for the right kind of behavior that's just right for our environment? And also an opportunity to donate to organizations that are making a difference in this space and trying to also, solve for this challenge as well. And so these are all areas that we believe, resonate. We've seen strong demand from our banks. We've seen really good engagement from consumers. That's why, to my earlier point, I said it makes business sense. Because from a bank standpoint, this is about surpassing the consumer's expectations and bringing solutions in their payment experiences or in their engagement that can delight the consumer and surpass their expectations. It's also about increasing engagement. And so they've seen consumers engage more with their apps in order to be able to determine that impact, calculate their spend, and see how they're making a difference, and which in turn drives top of wallet preference, because consumers will spend the credential that helps them make an impact and drive more sustainable behavior. So we're seeing all of this, make real business sense for our clients, and at the same time, meet the expectations of Visa cardholders globally as well.
Ulrich, could you share any deeper stories or anecdotes about what it's like for the consumer actually going through their day-to-day lives?
Right. So I think it has to be relevant, but it also has very easy to apply to consumers and easy to understand. That's what we try to bring across with all the content we are having for the different categories, in just telling consumers, well, did you know that next time you go to the restaurant, maybe go for white meat? So all the little tips that not everybody is really aware of. And we see that consumers are really picking these up. So we track the behavior and the change of behavior, which Otto was mentioning. And we see them in more public transport tickets and using the car less often. So we can clearly see that in the transactions. What they also do, and this is very interesting for the bank, is, they start reducing their CO2, but they also increase their spending on these. And why is that? Because and the first conscious spending is about is more than traditional spending. If you look for organic food, it's more expensive. A Tesla sells for a different price than a Ford. But on the other hand, they also have different cards and accounts. And what is happening is they basically transfer transactions from non-green cards and accounts to green accounts, because they have these features available there. So we see top of wallet is changing with 1.5 years live data now up to 18%. So that's quite a massive change. And obviously, this is really interesting to see from the bank's perspective, building that business case for the bank. We also have something called refinements, where people tell us a little bit more about their diets and their behavior. Also here we see quite a high engagement in these refinements. So overall, the engagement in the banking app is increasing by more than 150%. So you just spend more time in the banking app that used to be quite static and well, I would say boring, but it's, it wasn't that interactive. It wasn't a dialogue, right? And that's what we need, pushing people to do. And those that really want to go deeper can do this, right? And interesting also is the amount of customers that are interested in these features. So we have some banks that went live with all the customer base, and we see opt-out rates below than 5%. So 95% of the consumers there continue to use these features. So it's not about, young target groups or 20% of the target group overall, but it's the majority, the massive majority of banks' customers.
And back to the business case that you and Otto were both speaking about, I just want to make sure we cover the use as an acquisition tool. Isn't that right? Is it showing success as a strong acquisition tool? Maybe Otto, do you want to share something about that?
It absolutely is. And, look, we've got so many consumers that are very conscious of their impact on the environment, and they want to continue to live, exhibit behaviors that help to address this challenge. And these are the consumers that our banks are bringing products like this to, the Visa Eco Benefits program, sustainability as a service, and driving more acquisition with that base. And we're going to continue to see that base grow. And I think that is the right thing for our environment. It is the right thing for us to continue to do going forward.
Yeah, Ulrich, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so I'm fully agree that this business case is really an important thing. So we also try to help the bank building this business case. But you can clearly see, looking at Europe, for example, there's some banks selling green accounts for like 13 euros a month or something dollars a month, right? Where the normal account is just $3 or $4. So, there's a clear, significant difference there. But as a bank, you obviously need to have something behind that. What's the features and functionality of these accounts? What do they do? Do they plant trees, or do they donate money, or do they have these features available? So you definitely need some kind of value add to move up the price there. But it can be done. That's what we try to help the banks with.
You've really shared some impressive results, but Ulrich, is there anything else you'd like to share with us from your perspective about addressing sustainability through finance and payments?
Yeah, so the one thing I would really say to the region is really to speed up and do something, start doing something rather sooner than later, especially as COP28 is around the corner. The world will be looking at the region. I think this is a very important one, and actually there's no reason to wait. I mean, the software is there, the data is there. It's far from perfect, but it's very solid and robust, and it's getting better every day. There's no real reason to wait for that, especially when the business case is there. So that's that would be my my push here to really start learning, also start dialogue and start launching green products, because consumers want it. There's one fact from Europe that 1/3 of the customer rate of the bank want to offer green products in the future. So that's quite a high number of customers that a bank could also be loose. It's a strong acquisition tool, but it's also a strong retention tool, right?
Otto, what's your take on that?
I would agree. Strong acquisition tool and strong retention tool as well. I think Ulrich has summed it up very nicely. And if viewers want to learn more about what we've been doing here, we've published our latest ESG report on visa.com. And, we talk about this work that we're doing with ecolytiq and, all of the goals and targets that we have met and will continue to work toward in driving sustainability as we go forward as well. So on visa.com, we've got that information and that report published.
Thank you both for joining us today. That was a really interesting discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.